Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to JM Unleashed. Today's live stream is going to be about over 500 million ounces of silver that was discovered and how I got a piece of it. So just hang in there. I'm running a little bit late, but what I'm going to do is patch us forward here in just a second. Hang in there. And share screen. And then we'll get started in just a second. Right here. Okay. So let's just see if you guys can see this. Yes, you can. So this is how we're going to get started. And I'm just going to wait for a few more people to show up, and then we'll get going. So just hold on. Hi, Wendy's Pocket Change. How's it going? You are right on time, so I'm not going to delay any further. Thanks for stopping by. I wanted to share this story of over $500 million of silver that was discovered and how I got a piece of it. So here we go. I know most of my viewers are from the States. But this story is actually coming from the Toronto Public Library and is talking about Cobalt, Ontario's early days. It was considered Silver City. So I just want to double check and make sure. Wendy's, can you confirm that my audio is good here? Thank you. So I'm just going to read through here, and then we'll talk back and forth a bit as we go. So here we go. So in the 1920s, Cobalt, Ontario was world famous. It was home to some of the most productive silver mines in the world. Over 600 million troy ounces, which is around 2 million kilos of silver, were produced there from 1903 to 1926. Now, for anyone that's in the States, this is relevant to you as well. Thanks for confirming the audio there, Wendy. Appreciate that. And this silver would not have actually all been processed if it were not for Americans. And so you're going to see that in the near future here in this article. So below are some images of Cobalt during its time as a mining town. The photos are available on Digital Archive Ontario. And what I'll do, it'll be maybe half an hour after this live stream is done. I'll go ahead and post a link in the description of this for the actual article that I'm referencing here. So in 1884, a Geological Survey of Canada party noted cobalt blooms in rocks near Lake Temiskaming. A cobalt bloom pattern in red cobalt indicates that silver is present. Over the centuries, people in the area, indigenous peoples, fur traders, explorers, farmers, loggers, had been living on top of treasure in the ground, and they did not know about it. So here in this map, and I'll show you after we get through the article how that relates in Canada and to the States and what its relative proximity is. So there we go. Major interest in the area wouldn't be sparked until 1903 during construction of the Temiskaming and Northern Ontario Railway. So this is pretty much due north from Toronto. And back in these days, Toronto was not even really known. It hadn't been built yet. Its purpose was to serve the clay belt around Haileybury and New Liskeard, and to open the area up to agriculture. However, as construction proceeded near Long Lake at mile 103, something in the rock formations captured the interest of a few. So there were some partners who were contracted with the railways to supply timber for the ties, and they were looking for suitable trees. This is a really, really interesting story, and it's the only story that I've brought to YouTube so far, so hang in there. So they're looking for trees for the railway ties when they noticed some heavy, soft mineral deposits. They staked their claim in August of 1903 and sent rock samples down to be analyzed. The first samples had high bismuth content, but the second set were found to contain a high silver content, with over 4,000 ounces of silver per ton, which is just amazing. Like right now, if you look at primary silver mines, it's not even close to that. So a few weeks later, blacksmith Fred LaRose hurled his hammer at a fox. And this is the key to the story. The fox was hanging around his forge. When he retrieved the hammer, he found it had chipped off the rock to reveal a glittering vein of silver. So the key here is that means it was above ground silver. There was no mines at all. And as you can see in the picture there, they were just developing the railway. So he sent away for government pamphlet on how to stake a claim, rightly so. And he followed the instructions, and this developed into the highly profitable LaRose mine. So I'm just going to take a quick pause here and move back to StreamYard and just see here. Hi, CCT, how's it going? We're just covering the story of Cobalt, Ontario, and the over 500 million ounces of silver that was found there, and how I got a piece of it. So I've started through the article already, and I'll post a link to it maybe half an hour after this live stream is done, so you guys can easily find it and read it or enjoy it at your own leisure. And it's being referenced from the Toronto Library. Okay, so I'm going to get back to this here. Very, very relevant to Americans and Canadians. And I know CCT, you're from the UK, but it's still relevant in that a lot of mines are having a difficult time finding high-grade silver ore. So rock samples from the Temiskaming ended up in the lab of Dr. Willett Green Miller, Ontario's first provincial geologist. In October 1903, he traveled up with a small crew to survey the rock. His report on the silvery discovery generated very little interest in the wider world. The locals were the only people prospecting and staking claims. William Trethewey was one of the few outsiders who came in the spring of 1904 to try their luck. And by the way, I am planning on making a move up into this area as well, because I think a lot of the silver still has not been found. That year, Trethewey got $250,000. That's back in 1904 dollars of silver out of a 50-foot long and 25-foot deep cut. Not very much at all. So this area was, and in my opinion still is, loaded with silver. And we know where there's silver, there's gold. His silver veins were so near the surface that he only needed a pick and shovel to dig the ore. Dr. Miller then made his second visit. Around the campfire, Miller and the others agreed that the current name Long Lake Construction Camp was inadequate for the boomtown to be. He suggested cobalt. And we all know that cobalt is also a mineral which is needed for high-end batteries. And this area is loaded with cobalt as well. So at the site of the future railway station, a sign soon appeared announcing Cobalt Station, T&NO Railway. There you can see they were using horses back then. And this is a winter mining camp at this point. So mining operations ramp up in 1904. At that time, only 158 tons of ore was shipped out from 16 mining operations. Things picked up in 1905 when 29 mines shipped 2,144 tons of ore containing 2,451,000 and change ounces of silver. This was over 1,100 troy ounces of silver per ton, which is very high grade and worth $2 million back in those days. That year, the Ontario government canceled claims that had produced no minerals and appeared to be held for speculation purposes only. This opened up the territory to prospecting, and people flocked from the south on an overnight train ride into silver country. At one point, there were roughly 2,000 crews mining or looking to mine in the area. In the coming years, more than 100 mines were operated in the area. Cobalt was the birthplace of Canadian hard rock mining. There's a few more pictures. And like I said, I'll leave the links to this. So I'm going to take a quick break and just pop back and just see if I've missed any more comments. Nope, we're up to speed. So that's good. We'll carry on here, and then I'll show you how I got a piece of the silver that was in here. So this is where it becomes interesting for Americans. International interest and expansion. Capital was needed to finance deeper pits with better equipment and more miners. Shares were offered. Historically, mining companies and their share prices boomed and busted on the Toronto Stock Exchange. Canadians did not buy up all the shares. As there was a far greater pool of venture capital in the United States, shares were bought by Americans, leading to a level of American control. New York investors visited in private rail cars to keep tabs on the operations, and rightly so. So there's a postcard of King Cobalt Silver Mine in 1910, and this is when the Americans were investing in the area to help get the silver out. So experienced miners from as far as British Columbia, which is just north of California, Arizona, Sonora, and British East Africa descended on Cobalt, Ontario, along with the rest. The town grew rapidly to house and service the miners. New businesses opened. Without any formal planning, buildings sprung up on flat outcroppings with streets curving erratically around them. Living conditions were cramped and relatively expensive. While on a tour of Canada in 1919, Edward HRH, the Prince of Wales, visited Cobalt. His impression, this was a gray, wee town. And sure enough, most of the year it's winter there, and there wasn't much to it back then. The population of Cobalt grew to over 10,000. There were hotels, saloons, stores, banks, a Red Cross hospital, fire department, and even an opera house. The first detachment of the Ontario Provincial Police was stationed there. The town's hockey team, the Cobalt Silver Wings, played in the NHL, or NHA as they called it back then. We're almost through this article, and then we'll have a little more discussion, and I'll show you how I got silver from this area. The Canadian Bank of Commerce, which is now known as CIBC, was the first of 4 banks in the town and was originally housed in a large tent. A saying common at the time was, Silver Street built Bay Street. And so for any Americans here, just to give you an idea, Bay Street in Toronto is the equivalent to Toronto as to what Wall Street is to New York. Bay Street is the financial capital of Canada, and certainly Toronto. And so that line is very key. The statement was Silver Street built Bay Street. So important was the wealth generated from the mines to the province of Ontario. And so many people have said that Toronto would never have been built, certainly not to the extent that it was, if it weren't for the silver that came from Cobalt. So when the silver was gone, the men disappeared. They went there to mine silver, not necessarily to build a community. So today the population's down to about 1,100. There is still mining there, and I happen to have, it's not inside information, but I do have knowledge that whole area is starting to bustle again with mining. It's very near, close to Kirkland Lake. Now, as car companies increase production of electric vehicles, more cobalt will be needed for lithium cobalt batteries. So there's a 1971 picture of the sign of cobalt. And that's it for the article. So, like I said, I'll put that back, a link to that in the description in about half an hour after the live stream's done. Hi, Donald. How's it going? Okay, so that is it for that. And so what I want to do now is stop sharing this one. Just give me a second. Wow. That's the most talking I've done in a long time. And so what I'm going to do here is just show you where that is, where cobalt is in relation to everything else. So here, let's share this. Yes, there we go. Okay, so cobalt, Ontario, Canada is right here. Hopefully you can see that. And I'll just zoom out so you can get a feel for where it is in relation to the States and other areas. So down here is Sudbury, which is Canada's largest nickel mine. We got Toronto here, and then New York is over here, and Michigan is over here. So cobalt is north of New York and Michigan, and sort of right in the middle, probably 300 or 400 miles north. Okay. And you can easily look it up. And then Kirkland Lake, which if you follow Eric Sprott or the Sprott funds at all, you'll know that Eric Sprott is heavily invested in Kirkland Lake mines. So this whole area is just loaded with minerals. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing that now. Yeah, it's good to see you too, Donald. So now what I'm going to try to do here is I prepared just a quick little clip for you showing you how I got silver and the silver that I got. And so I'm just going to play that for you. It should be okay. And I'll be right back with you. I think it's a 1 or 2 minute clip, and I'll show you the actuals. Okay, and then here is the proof set 2003 from the Royal Canadian Mint, commemorating Cobalt, Ontario. And you can see in here, they've got the silver dollar with the fox on it, representing the fox that the guy threw his shovel at and discovered the silver in Cobalt, Ontario. Neat, eh? So that's pretty much it for the end of the presentation, other than, I can show you these. I know it didn't show up that well. I think Donald may have seen them before. Let's see if I turn this up a bit. So these are 1 ounce, well, actually more than 1 ounce. This one's 44.43 grams. And you can see there, this says struck from 3/9 fine pure silver mined and refined in Cobalt, Canada. Canada's richest silver camp in the world. Over 500 million ounces produced to that date, which was up until 1963. So I've got 2 of these. I did actually have 3, and I gave one away to one of my customers. The other thing I'll show you here right away. Yes, I know you had seen that. Is this here. It didn't show up as nice in that clip that I did, but this is the 2003 proof set. You're welcome, Wendy's. I'm glad I could share it with you. I've been planning on doing a video on this for a while, and then I thought, you know what? I'm just going to do a live stream on it, and then that way, if you guys have questions, you know, you got it there right away. And so this is the proof set that's commemorating that whole thing, and you can see the fox on that silver dollar at the top. So the first 2 silver rounds that I showed you were actually that silver was sourced from cobalt. The other thing, just so you know, that's very significant to this story is I now have 3 friends or family that have moved up in that area in the last year. And I've already received 1 invitation to move up there, and I'm seriously considering it. Right now, I know there's a ton of mines up in that area that are hiring, and I figure I've got about another 10 years that I can work pretty hard, and I'm seriously considering applying for a job at a mine up there. So I'm not going to say exactly how close it is, but absolutely within 30 miles of Cobalt, Ontario. And I know, because I've been up close to that area before, the amount of minerals up there is just unbelievable. So that's pretty much it for my presentation. I'm happy to keep this going if you guys want to continue chatting. Maybe, you know, for another 20 or 30 minutes, and then I got to go. But if I see people dropping off or you guys want to fly, that's totally fine. I get it. So I'm just going to play, what do you call it, like an end screen here. So anyone that watches the video after will realize that the main zone is, the main presentation is done. So here we go.
The winner.
Okay, so there we go. The other thing I'll do here is I'm going to post a link in here in case, in the event, hi Rocky Superstar, maybe a CCT or Rocky Superstar, or someone wants to come up. So let's see if I can do that. Should be able to pretty easily. Copy. Just give me a second here. There we go. So I posted a link there if anybody wants to come up and promote your channel, or if you want to ask me live if you have any questions about the presentation that I just went through. I am watching the chat here as well. So if you have any questions or comments you want me to address, that's great. And if not, then I'll probably shut this down in 10 or 15 minutes. What else did I bring for you? Oh, if you guys saw my Silver Smash videos, I've still got this Buffalo Indian round. There you can see the 999 at the bottom. That used to be a Buffalo Indian round before I smashed it. And I got videos of that. And we also smashed some Bitcoin. And that's a silver-plated copper Bitcoin round, which I thought was kind of fun. That was fun to do. Very good. I hope everybody's doing good today. It's nice and cool here where I am. We had a wicked heat wave last week. And right now, what does this say? It's just about 70 Fahrenheit right on the nose. Right on the nose. Yes, I know CCT's destroyed a few, and I saw Silver Wolverine attempted to destroy the one Maple Leaf, which, of course, I've got a Maple Leaf here too, in the snow, and he actually lost one on fireworks. It's still hot in England there, CCT? I heard it was the worst heat wave in England that they've had in a long time, and a lot of fires. Okay, Rocky Superstar. Yeah, next time, come on up. If anyone wants me to drop that link in there again, I can. It is, if you scroll up a bit, you'll see it. Yeah, the humidity here was brutal last week and the week before. Just unbelievable. And where I am here, as you may or may not know, I've got the ceilings insulated, which is nice for the winter. But the walls are not. Some of the walls are a little bit insulated, but man, I do have an air conditioner in here, and it was having a tough time keeping it cool. It was having a tough time. Oh, Wendy's here in Massachusetts. Right on. I've only been to Boston twice. As I think you know, I live near Toronto. Yes, Donald. Most Canadians, when we go to school, we learn Imperial and metric. At least when I did. So that way, some of the kids can just do the conversions. I can do miles an hour and kilometers per hour conversions pretty much in my head. Although part of it is just not that I really have photographic memory, but I can see it on the speedometer. I think most Americans even have, it'll be larger on the speedometer miles an hour, and then on the inside or in smaller font it'll have kilometers per hour, and it's the opposite here. But yeah, absolutely, we have Fahrenheit and Celsius, and most Canadians will be able to tell you either way. The nice thing with Celsius is when it's 0, that's freezing, so it's very easy. Whereas in Fahrenheit, freezing is 22. And it's unfortunate that the whole world can't just sort of agree on one system. Certainly, some people, if you just say, oh, it's however many degrees here, you kind of have to qualify it unless it's an American talking to an American, or it's someone on Imperial talking to someone on Imperial system. You're going to be in the mid 80s until a cool down next Tuesday. I know you told me it rained a few times there, Donald. Have you had much rain recently? Yeah, one system's too easy. It would make it very, very simple. And then anyone that wanted to sort of code their conversation would be able to just discuss it in a different system, I guess. What other countries use Imperial other than America? I don't know. I don't know. I wonder if, I was going to say maybe Puerto Rico, but technically Puerto Rico is part of the States, isn't it? So when your son went through college, well, Don, I'm sure you're still happy to have got some rain there, even if it seems a bit too much now. That's going to help. I remember you saying it was just like a tinderbox there. He had to learn the Latin names for plants. Okay. There was a professor that was here who was a professor of botany. Botany, which is like botanical gardens and plants. And every single plant in that book has the Latin for it. And if you try to look anything up, you kind of have to know the Latin, or you have to be by Google. The plant name have one Latin name. Yeah. Puerto Rico is a territory, no statehood status yet. Okay. I know a lot of, what do they call it, expats? People from the States that are looking for, I think Puerto Rico, it's considered like a tax haven. But a lot of wealthy people from the States, as you probably know, move to more favorable tax areas like Turks and Caicos, Belize, I think Costa Rica, Puerto Rico. Gallons are confusing, as there is an Imperial gallon and a U.S. gallon. That's true too, CCT. That's right. So if you're converting from liters to gallons, you got to make sure whether it's a U.S. gallon or an Imperial gallon. Do Imperial gallons convert to liters just by moving a decimal point, or fairly easily, or is it that I don't know? But I do know 1 liter is approximately, 1 U.S. gallon is approximately 3.7 liters. Approximately. Oh, here's the other interesting thing. If you guys are familiar with my live streams, I usually have 50 ounces of silver just hanging out here, purifying the air, which silver does. And a friend of mine popped by and he's like, "Oh, hey, JM." This was about 3 weeks ago. And he might even be watching here right now, too. I'll know if I see him in the chat. He's like, "Hey, JM, do you mind if I borrow one of your, interlocking 10-ounce Scottsdales? I'll bring it back tomorrow. I just wanted to show my buddy because he promotes precious metals, as do I, to other people. At least, just promoting being aware of it. And guess what? He hasn't returned it. It's been about 3 weeks, and I'm still down. So I feel kind of naked without my extra 10 ounces of silver. Not that it's too relevant to you guys, but don't worry. I know he's good for it. Okay, so while you guys are there, I think what I might do is just see if right now, if I can post that article. Here, I'll show you. Tab. Yeah. This one here. This is the article that I was referencing. And so actually, while we're in here right now, I am going to copy and paste that into the description. That way, just if anybody shows up later. So I'll be right back with you in a minute. I'm just posting it right now in the description, the article referenced. That way they get credit for it. Paste. Wow, that's a long link. Good. So I got that done. That's in there now. We'll go back here. And actually, I want to go back. Yeah, that's the other thing, Rocky Superstar, that you just mentioned. With tools, we get both here. It's just incredible. Like if you have a lawnmower or a motorcycle or something you're wanting to work on, you just never know whether it's going to be in millimeters or inches. So you have to have both. You got to have both. And I want to do a little better job on sharing this map on where cobalt was. I'm going to go back and do that right now. Okay. So this that I'm zooming in on right here is Kirkland Lake. Right here. And this is where Eric Sprott has significant mining going on. There's lots of silver and lots of gold in that area. And then cobalt is right down here, just south. 24, 60, maybe 70 kilometers, which is about 50 miles south of Kirkland Lake. See if you can see that there. That's right. So Kirkland Lake's up here. Cobalt's down here. So right in this area is where we're talking. And then, as you guys know, I live quite close to Toronto. So for me to make a move up there, it's about 700 or 800 kilometers, which is about 500 miles. It's a pretty good haul, but not too bad. Where I'd really like to go is down here. I would love to go on a vacation here. Antarctica. In fact, I suspect there's more minerals in Antarctica than anywhere else that's undiscovered at this point. That's what I think. You're glad when they went to metric. Yeah, it's got to make it easier. Most of what I've seen, metric is easier, unless you're brought up with Imperial. But even so, if you can figure out Imperial, metric's going to be easy to figure out. Donald, no, I have not been to Toronto yet, but I am glad that I got confirmation from Mateo Man saying that, sure enough, back in 1967, when they stopped having 80% silver in our coinage, that it was very, very quiet, and there was very, very few people that went in and converted their digital or bank book dollars into the silver coins. They kept a very close, tight wrap on that, and they kept it very quiet. I'd like to know what the name of that coin shop is in Toronto, because I don't like going to Toronto unless I know exactly why I'm going. And there's a really awesome steakhouse. Anytime I go to Toronto, I go to the steakhouse on my way out. It's near the airport. In fact, I don't even mind telling you what it is. There's a truck stop just west of Toronto, Pearson International Airport, and it's called Master Steaks. And it kind of looks and feels like a truck stop on the inside and the out. But man, you go in there and you can get porterhouse, pretty much any type of steak you want. It's just as good as a 5-star steakhouse, but it's about a third of the price. But it's not a 5-star setting, but it's really neat. Don't know the name of the shop. I'll ask. Yeah, let me know what it is, because one of my relatives lives in Newmarket, which is north of Toronto, and he's poked around at I've got him onto silver and gold, and he's poked around a few of the coin shops in Toronto, and he kind of had a mixed bag of results on premiums and how friendly they were. And so if I can find out what the shop is that Mateo Man's at, then I can be pretty confident that that's a good one. I know the one I go to here in town, where I got these from. I got these from the coin shop. These cobalt ones. And it's actually, there's several owners in it. It's a family run, kind of like, not like Coin Crew, but there's 4 or 5 family members that run it. We're backwards here. And just by monitoring their website, I can tell what I can get a good deal on and what I can't. But yep, I believe you, Donald, because when I asked him that, he came back with the answer quite quickly. And he also said that he went in and he stocked up on silver coinage back in 1967. But, you know, every single person that I've asked that I know was born in 1950 or earlier, so they would have been of age to be aware, has said they really had very little notice. The same as they switch the composition of the coinage here all the time too. And they don't really give you any notice. You can look it up. But when I get to Amarillo, Texas, check out the Big Texan 72-ounce steak. Nice. My favorite is prime rib. You know, I'd like to get a nice prime rib roast and just slow roast that in the oven. I don't know if you guys know this, but I was in a pretty bad car accident about 5 years ago. And no, it wasn't my fault. But ever since, my back's been really messed up. And I've put on a lot of weight. I used to be in wicked shape. And I don't know, I'm starting to salivate just thinking of a 72-ounce steak. And I guarantee I could definitely kick that in. But no, I don't want to get fat. But I would definitely do that when I'm there. Yeah, prime rib. And I know some people don't like mushrooms, but I like the au jus and nice hot horseradish. And what do they call it? The Yorkshire puddings. Yum. And that's the problem there too with the prime rib, is that's one of the more fatty parts of the beef, but that's where you get that flavor from. Yep, I know, Don. I could here. I'll show you right here. Look at that. Like, I used to be in freaking good shape, and now like we got almost nothing left. My legs are still in good shape from doing the dog walking, but no, up until about 5 years ago, I was in really good shape. And now the problem is with pinched nerves. You know, I can do light duty stuff, but as soon as I start trying to do anything where I'm exerting, you know, having to lift heavy weight, like construction or anything like that, pinches the nerves and I'm Scrooged. Yeah, what happened to your face? That's right. Yep. If you would have saw my my high school pictures, you would have thought that I was going to be in the WWF or WWE as they call it now. But that's okay. I'm not going to complain. I try to stay positive, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I've recovered from that car accident as well as I have. I know other people that you know, died in car accidents. I know one that's paralyzed pretty much from her neck down. Like, it could be a lot worse. So we always got to stay positive, and for me anyway, count our blessings. Prolapse disc in your neck. I remember you saying that before, CCT, and I think that came up when we were talking about doing sit-ups. A prolapse disc. So that means the disc went like that, I believe. With me, what it is you've got your the discs in the lower back, and I've got where they're supposed to be, you know, like that on either side, kind of parallel and symmetrical. I got one that's like this and one that's like that. And so I can go to the chiropractor, and if I go regularly, he gets it back in line. But all it takes is for me to have a trip and fall, like you saw in that one video where I wiped out, or I have a big dog pull. I had Theo lunged at a bicyclist the other day, and he hurled me about 6 feet in the air, and now I got bruised ribs from that. So there we go. Wendy's, you had carpal tunnel surgery on both of them 5 years ago, and now I'm going in for another hand surgery. Yeah, I avoid all medical procedures. I do not like going to the doctor any more than I have to. Donald, you're fused. C6, C7, L5, and L4. A lot of people with back problems. Yeah, Rocky, I did some registered massage therapy as well. And actually, the insurance company paid for it. But that's registered massage therapy. And that's the guy, he's a Kung Fu instructor part-time and a registered massage therapist full-time. This guy's like freaking Chuck Norris. And I went in for several sessions, but it was so painful when he did it. Like, I had to get him to stop just like digging in and digging in. I get home and my certain areas of my body were black and blue from the massage. And I went back, I didn't file a complaint to anybody above him, but I sort of filed a verbal complaint with him. And he said, JM, that's no pain, no gain. What did he say? He said, suck it up, Buttercup. Verbatim, that's what he said. So, what do you do? Anyway. Okay, guys. All this talk about steak has got me hungry. So I am going to shut this down in 3 minutes, unless I see at least 3 people put a 1 into the chat saying they want me to keep this going. If you want me to keep the live stream going, put a 1 into the chat and I will. Otherwise, I shut it down in 3 minutes. And that being said, I do really appreciate everybody stopping by. I have already posted a link in the description for the article that I referenced on that $500 million ounces of silver that was discovered. And I'm 100% confident that there's lots more up there that has not been discovered yet. And I plan on getting it. Rocky Superstar, have a great day. CCT, take it easy. Wendy's Pocket Change, it's good to see you again. Dawn in New Mexico, have a great day. We'll see you guys all in the very near future, I'm sure. And I'm just going to play a quick outro, and then we're out.
It's the winner.
I see there's still some people here, so I'm just going to double back on the comments and make sure I didn't miss anything. Yep, we're all up to speed, so I'm going to head out, guys. Have a great day and stay safe.